Welcome to Hopkins Online Learning. Welcome to the course Persuasive Communication. This is Module 6, Communication for Persuasion and Argument. This is the overview of the lesson. There will be 4 topics in this lesson. Topic 1, Principles of Persuasion. Topic 2, the impact of tailoring a message towards audience and context. Topic 3, Ethics of Persuasion. Topic 4, Presenting ideas persuasively using appropriate language, registers, tone, and facial expressions. Hopkins Online Learning. Topic 1. In this topic, we will discuss opinion, persuasion and argument. Persuasion is defined as influencing a person's beliefs, attitudes, values or behavior. Ideas and persuading people about them can change the world. Martin Luther King influenced a nation in ensuring that all races are given equal rights and played a huge role in stopping segregation. Martin Luther King's speech is widely considered as a turning point in the civil rights movement, shifting the demand and demonstrations for racial equality that had mostly occurred in the South to a national stage. One of his most famous lines is as follows: "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin but by the content of their character." This line persuaded millions of people to stand up for equal rights around the world. An opinion is a judgment, viewpoint, or statement about something that is not conclusive, rather than facts, which are true statements. Opinions may come from beliefs that are only partially true, whereas facts are completely true. The picture shown is a map of the square and stationary Earth created by Professor Orlando Ferguson in 1893. It was his opinion that the Earth was flat. This opinion is not true, as we have pictures now of Earth from space. Of all the conspiracy theories that litter the internet, the flat Earth conspiracy is quite possibly the most curious. After all, the ancient Greeks figured out the planet's shape, and even its circumference, in the 3rd century BC. An NBA star named Kyrie Irving apologized in 2018 for his earlier claims that the Earth is flat. An argument is a statement or claim, backed up with evidence that supports the idea. Here is a crazy argument: is drinking water unhealthy? An argument could be a crazy statement such as drinking water is unhealthy because 100% of water drinkers die. However, even if supported by facts, the argument is untrue because all people eventually die. Water drinkers or not. To summarize, we use persuasion, argument and opinion differently. Persuasion is defined as influencing a person's beliefs, attitudes, or values or behavior. An argument is defined as statement or claim, backed up with evidence that supports the idea. An opinion is defined as a judgment, viewpoint, or statement about something. We use all these communicative tools differently. We would use persuasion to influence an audience. We would use an argument to make a claim or a statement. We would use an opinion to talk about our beliefs. An example persuasive phrase could be, "You should watch this amazing new movie." An example argument could be, "This restaurant is amazing because it received a 5-star rating from TripAdvisor." An example opinion could be, "I believe the Earth is flat." In this review quiz, you will be asked to identify which of persuasion, argument or opinion would be the most appropriate for a particular purpose. You may pause the video now before we show the answers. The answers are: 1. Influencing an audience. This would be persuasion. 2. Making a claim or statement. This would be argument. 3. Providing an opinion. This would be opinion. Hopkins Online Learning. Topic 2. In this topic, we will discuss Cialdini's 6 principles of persuasion. Dr. Cialdini is known globally as the foundational expert in the science of influence and how to apply it ethically in business. His 6 principles of persuasion have become a cornerstone for any organization serious about effectively increasing their influence. His books, including Influence and Persuasion, have sold more than 5 million copies in 41 different languages. Robert Cialdini is often referred to as the godfather of influence. Dr. Cialdini is the most cited social psychologist in the world today in the fields of influence and persuasion. According to Dr. Cialdini, there are 6 key principles of persuasion. These principles are reciprocity, commitment and consistency, social proof, authority and liking. Cialdini's groundbreaking book called Influence talked about 6 principles of persuasion. These principles are: 1. Reciprocity. 2. Scarcity. 3. Authority. 4. Commitment and consistency. 5. Consensus. 6. Liking. Each of Robert Cialdini's principles of persuasion have their roots in the evolution of the human species. These 6 principles can be often thought of influencing the animal side of someone's brain. Everyone has these instincts, although often in the background. The writer in this photo can be thought of as the thinking part of our brain, It evolved last and is much smaller to the elephant, which can be considered the animal side of our brain. Principle of reciprocity. Reciprocity is the mutual expectation for exchange of value or service. In all cultures, when one person gives something, the receiver is expected to reciprocate, even if only by saying, "Thank you." Think of the supermarket and getting a free sample. How often do you feel obligated to purchase what you tried for free? Eating a free food sample activates the reciprocity part of your brain, which makes you feel that you owe it to the person who gave you free food to buy their product. Principle of scarcity. You want what you can't have, and it's universal. People are naturally attracted to the exclusive, the rare, the unusual, and the unique. If they are convinced that they need to act now or it will disappear, they are motivated to action. Scarcity is the perception of inadequate supply or a limited resource. Look at the picture from agoda.com. They deliberately use the principle of scarcity to make it seem like the rooms are quickly running out, even if there may be thousands of rooms left to book on their website. Principle of authority. The principle of authority involves referencing experts and expertise. Trust is central to the purchase decision. Whom does a customer turn to? A salesperson may be part of the process, but an endorsement by an authority holds credibility that no one with a vested interest can ever attain. Knowledge of a product, field, trends in the field, and even research can make a salesperson more effective by the appeal to the principle of authority. Why are we more likely to follow rules when somebody is dressed as a policeman as compared to someone dressed in casual clothes? Our brains are automatically more trusting of those who we perceive are experts in a certain area. Principle of commitment and consistency. Commitment and consistency is the social norm of honoring one's word or promise. We often feel obligated to do what we said we will do. This is the principle of commitment and consistency. For example, if wearing a shirt that shows Earth Day or recycling, we are far more likely that day to remember to put our trash in the right place, because we want to be consistent with the shirt we are wearing. For example, if volunteers are asked to sign a petition first asking if they support recycling, they are far more likely at a later date to place recycling trash cans outside their homes because they want to be consistent with the petition they already signed. Principle of consensus. The principle of consensus involves the tendency of the individual to follow the lead of the group or peers. Testimonials, or first-person reports on experience with a product or service, can be highly persuasive. People often look to each other when making a purchase decision, and the herd mentality is a powerful force across humanity. If everybody else thinks this product is great, it must be great. We often choose the path of the herd, particularly when we lack adequate information. Look at this line for food. Have you automatically ever assumed a restaurant is good because the line is very long? A long line tricks your brain into automatically assuming something is good because there is a large group lining up for the same thing. Your brain in this case is being influenced by the principle of consensus. Principle of liking. The principle of liking involves the perception of safety and belonging in communication. Safety is the twin of trust as a foundation element for effective communication. If we feel safe, we are more likely to interact and communicate. We tend to be attracted to people who communicate to us that they like us, and who make us feel good about ourselves. Given a choice, these are the people with whom we are likely to associate. Physical attractiveness has long been known to be persuasive, but similarity is also quite effective. Look at this picture of soccer fans. Most of them do not know each other but automatically like each other because they feel similar to one another. As they mostly share the same interest of supporting the same sports team, they feel safer with each other, and it is often easier to be influenced by someone who you like. In summary, the 6 principles of Cialdini are: 1. Reciprocity is the mutual expectation for exchange of value or service. 2. Scarcity is the perception of inadequate supply or a limited resource. 3. Authority is trusting people we consider to be wise, those who are experts for decisions. 4. Commitment and consistency is the social norm of honoring one's word or promise. 5. Consensus is the tendency of the individual to follow the lead of the group or peers. 6. Liking involves being more influenced to those people we like. In this review quiz, you will be asked to identify what principle would be most appropriate to a particular situation. The principles could be consensus, scarcity, liking, reciprocity, commitment, and authority. You may pause the video now before we show the answers. The answers are: 1. Buying a new desk from the online shop with the highest number of good reviews. This would be consensus. 2. A huge discount for the first 20 buyers of the limited edition product. This would be scarcity. 3. Assigning the attractive employee to the front desk to talk to the customers. This would be liking. Hopkins Online Learning Topic 3. In this topic, we will discuss Aristotle's rhetoric and rhetorical strategies. Aristotle is an ancient Greek philosopher and scientist, and is known as one of the greatest intellectual figures of Western history. Aristotle has been called the father of logic, the father of biology, the father of political science, the father of zoology, the father of embryology, the father of natural law, the father of scientific method, the father of rhetoric, the father of psychology, the father of realism, the father of criticism, the father of individualism, the father of teleology, and the father of meteorology. Aristotle's theory of persuasion, also known as his rhetorical appeal, centers around the three appeals, namely 1. Logos. 2. Pathos. 3. Ethos. Ethos, logos, and pathos were Aristotle's three forms of rhetorical proof, meaning they were primary to his theories of persuasion. Ethos refers to the credibility of a speaker and includes three dimensions: competence, trustworthiness, and dynamism. Logos refers to the reasoning or logic of an argument. Pathos refers to emotional appeals. Ethos, logos, and pathos were Aristotle's three forms of rhetorical proof, meaning they were primary to his theories of persuasion. Ethos refers to the credibility of a speaker and includes three dimensions: competence, trustworthiness, and dynamism. Look at the ethos of this picture. Would this be someone you would be willing to talk with and receive financial or life-changing advice from? Does the clown look credible to you? Logos refers to the reasoning or logic of an argument. The presence of fallacies would obviously undermine a speaker's appeal to logos. Speakers employ logos by presenting credible information as supporting material and verbally citing their sources during their speech. Look at the picture of a broken light bulb. If a child would ask an adult to change a light bulb, the broken light bulb shows clear logic of the need to change the light bulb. Even though the child may not project ethos or credibility, the logic of why replace the light bulb would be strong given the facts presented. Pathos refers to emotional appeals. Aristotle was suspicious of too much emotional appeal, yet this appears to have become more acceptable in public speaking. Stirring emotions in an audience is a way to get them involved in the speech, and involvement can create more opportunities for persuasion and action. Imagine the amount of pathos used when boyfriends and girlfriends argue with each other whether they are breaking up or getting back together. In breakup situations, we use far too much pathos and maybe not enough logos. The Tolman method, developed by philosopher Stephen Tolman, is essentially a structure for analyzing arguments. But the elements for analysis are so clear and structured that many professors now have students write argumentative essays with the elements of the Tolman method in mind. There are 6 elements for analyzing, and, in this case, presenting arguments that are important to the Tolman method. The claim is a statement of opinion that the author is asking her or his audience to accept as true. The grounds are the facts, data, or reasoning upon which the claim is based. Essentially, the grounds are the facts making the case for the claim. The warrant is what links the grounds to the claim. This is what makes the audience understand how the grounds are connected to supporting the claim. The backing gives additional support for the claim by addressing different questions related to your claim. The qualifier is essentially the limits to the claim or an understanding that the claim is not true in all situations. The rebuttal is when the author addresses the opposing views. Let's practice applying the Tolman model. Here we can make the claim that Bob is probably good boyfriend material. Our grounds would be that Bob is single, 30 years old and holds a job as a dentist. Our backing would be that data shows that dentists have the lowest divorce rates out of more than 50 professions studied by GoodHousekeeping.com. Our warrant would be that men with jobs are more likely to be stable partners in a relationship. A possible rebuttal could be that Bob's ex-girlfriend complained that he arrived late to dates. Although this is a funny example, we can show that the claim of Bob probably being good boyfriend material may have basis. In 1898, Elias St. Elmo Lewis, an eventual inductee of the Advertising Hall of Fame, anonymously wrote a column about 3 advertising principles he found useful throughout his career in a printing magazine called the Inland Printer, one of the most influential American magazines of the 19th century. In his column, he states that a successful advertisement should always follow a specific formula. He writes the mission of an advertisement is to attract a reader, so that he will look at the advertisement and start to read it, then to interest him, so that he will continue to read it, then to convince him, so that when he has read it he will believe it. If an advertisement contains these qualities of success, it is a successful advertisement. The AIDA model consists of attention or awareness. The first stage of AIDA is introducing your product or service to potential customers for the first time. The goal of this stage is to cast a wide net and build interest. Interest, this next step in the sales funnel goes beyond initial appeal and is more informational. Potential customers have now heard of your product or service, but they must determine whether it is the right fit for their needs. Desire. Once you have successfully cultivated broad interest in your product or service, the goal of the desire stage is to cement positive opinions and build trust in your brand. Action. Leading a customer to take an action such as buying a product or signing up for a trial. We explore using the AIDA model to analyze a popular learning website, udacity.com. Attention. Headline grabs attention by talking about radical talent transformation. Interest. Driving interest by having a button for every customer type, enterprise, government, individuals, and talking about changing lives, businesses and nations. Desire. Showing proven results like a 232% return on investment. Action. The post has many calls to action with buttons for get started, enterprise, government, and individuals. We can summarize all the rhetorical strategies as follows. 1. Aristotle's modes of persuasion, ethos, logos, and pathos were Aristotle's three forms of rhetorical proof, meaning they were primary to his theories of persuasion. Ethos refers to the credibility of a speaker and includes three dimensions: competence, trustworthiness, and dynamism. Logos refers to the reasoning or logic of an argument. Pathos refers to emotional appeals. 2. Tolman's method, a structure for analyzing arguments consisting of 6 elements, namely claim, grounds, warrant, backing, qualifiers, and rebuttal. 3. AIDA model, a hierarchy of effects model consisting of 4 steps, namely awareness, interest, desire, and action. In this review quiz, you will be asked to identify which rhetorical strategy would be the most appropriate to a description. The rhetorical strategies could be the AIDA model, Aristotle's Rhetoric, or the Tolman's method. You may pause the video now before we show the answers. The answers are: 1. A hierarchy of effects model consisting of 4 steps, namely awareness, interest, desire, and action. This would be AIDA model. 2. 3 forms of rhetorical proof: ethos, pathos, and logos. This would be Aristotle's Rhetoric. 3. A structure for analyzing arguments consisting of 6 elements, namely claim, grounds, warrant, backing, qualifiers, and rebuttal. This would be Tolman's method. Hopkins Online Learning Topic 3. In this topic, we will discuss Aristotle's rhetoric and rhetorical strategies. Tone of voice is the nonverbal aspect of speaking. Tone is the intonation, or sometimes called an inflection. It is the rise and fall of the sound. In any persuasive text, the author will take a tone as a means of accomplishing the overall goal. Some examples of tone include: 1. Serious. 2. Humorous. 3. Dismissive. 4. Threatening. 5. Formal. 6. Informal. 7. Pessimistic. 8. Optimistic. 9. Sarcastic. Look at the text message. The first text of "please help" just sounds like a regular request with a neutral tone. The text with many exclamation points of "please help" has a very serious and urgent tone. A facial expression is one or more motions or positions of the muscles beneath the skin of the face. Facial expressions help set the emotional tone for a speech, such as looking at the audience and smiling before speaking. Facial expressions communicate a range of emotions and can be used to infer personality traits and make judgments about a speaker's credibility and competence. Look at the pictures of the foxes on the left. Each fox shows a completely different expression and would communicate an entirely different message based on their facial expressions. The fox in red has an angry expression, while the fox in blue has a very sleepy expression. Make sure your facial expressions are communicating an emotion, mood, or personality trait that will help you achieve your speech goals. For example, if your message is lighthearted or humorous, you can use facial expressions such as smiling, having bright eyes, or slightly raising your eyebrows. On the other hand, if your message is more serious or somber, you can use facial expressions such as a furrowed brow, a tighter mouth, or a slight head nod. Inconsistency with facial expression and speech content confuses the audiences and can lead them to question the speaker's honesty and credibility. Look at the cute picture of the baby on the right showing a very serious face. This type of facial expression would be suited towards more formal topics. You can click the link in the slides or search the name of the talk to access this media content. In the inaugural address of Barack Obama, the following things happened. On a freezing day in Washington, D.C., Barack Hussein Obama is sworn in as the 44th U.S. President. The son of a black father from Kenya and a white mother from Kansas, Obama had become the first African American to win election to the nation's highest office the previous November. Obama opened his inaugural address, which lasted some 20 minutes, by recognizing the challenges facing the nation at the outset of his administration: the worsening economic crisis, ongoing war against radical extremism and terrorism, costly health care, failing schools, and a general loss of confidence in America's promise. In the face of these obstacles, he offered a message of cautious yet confident optimism. "The challenges we face are real," Obama declared. "They are serious and they are many. They will not be met easily or in a short span of time. But know this, America, they will be met." Evaluating this talk with our checklist, we can possibly come up with the following evaluation. 1. Form of rhetorical proof. Ethos: Barack Obama is one of the most charismatic people to ever become President of the United States. 2. Principle of persuasion. Authority: Barack Obama displays supreme confidence when delivering his speech. Liking: Barack Obama delivered a landslide number of votes from the African American community for the Democratic Party. 3. Persuasive strategy, inspirational. 4. Appropriate language registers. The formal register was used with vocabularies such as undiminished, narrow interests, and we the people. 5. Appropriate tone. He was serious, formal, and optimistic. 6. Appropriate facial expressions. His facial expressions were consistent with the speech content. We can see a serious facial expression with slight head nods. You can click the link in the slides or search the name of the talk to access this media content. During the Nobel Peace Prize lecture in 2014 of Malala Yousafzai, the following things were discussed. When Malala Yousafzai was 15 years old, the Taliban shot her when she was on her way to school. They shot her because they do not think that girls should have the right to go to school. After Malala recovered, she wanted to fight for girls' right to education. In 2014, she was given the Nobel Peace Prize for this work. This is a summary of the speech Malala gave when she came to Oslo to receive the prize. For Malala, it is especially important to fight for every child's right to go to school. She says that education is the future, and she describes how she and her friends love to go to school and how the Taliban stopped girls from going to school. When the Taliban took control of the area where she lived, more than 400 schools were destroyed. Many people were killed and women were flogged. The Taliban said they did this because it was wrong for girls to go to school. Malala does not agree with the Taliban. She says that they are misusing the name of Islam, because Islam is against killing, and as the first word in the Quran is read, she believes that knowledge is important for all people. Evaluating this talk with our checklist, we can possibly come up with the following evaluation. 1. Form of rhetorical proof. Pathos: talking about her experiences in Pakistan with the Taliban. Experiences such as bombings and girls being prevented from going to school. 2. Principle of persuasion. Authority: she would be the authority on her own unique experience of being denied education as a girl in Pakistan. 3. Persuasive strategy, emotional. 4. Appropriate language registers: she uses the formal register, with quotes such as "not just the politicians and the world leaders, we all need to contribute. Me. You. It is our duty. So we must work and not wait. I call upon my fellow children to stand up around the world." 5. Appropriate tone: she was serious, formal, and optimistic. 6. Appropriate facial expressions: her facial expressions were consistent with the speech content. We can see a serious facial expression with slight head nods. In this review quiz, you will be asked to identify what term would be most appropriate to a particular description. The terms could be ethos, tone, facial expression, principle of persuasion, and ethicality. You may pause the video now before we show the answers. The answers are 1. One of Aristotle's 3 rhetorics that best applies to Barack Obama. This would be ethos, as Barack Obama is a very distinguished person. 2. Intonation or inflection. This would be tone. 3. Positions of the muscles beneath the skin of the face. This would be facial expression. Here is the summary of what we discussed. 1. Opinions, persuasion, and arguments are all different ways to communicate, with each type of communication having its own characteristics. 2. Communication may use different persuasion frameworks such as Aristotle's theories of persuasion, the AIDA model, and Cialdini's 6 principles of persuasion. 3. Presenting ideas persuasively involves the application of rhetorical proofs, principles of persuasion, persuasive strategies, observing the ethics of persuasion, and the use of appropriate language registers, tone as a means to accomplish the overall goal of the speaker, and facial expressions consistent with the speech content.